Hi there. Today we're having a sneak peek of the forthcoming Lamb Lies Down on Broadway 50th anniversary box set. Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time, and if it is your first time, don't forget to hit like, subscribe and tap that notification bell. It really does help the channel grow. Today we're diving deep into a milestone moment, not just in progressive rock history, but in the history of Genesis itself. 2024 marked the 50th anniversary of the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, the band's sprawling, theatrical, utterly ambitious double concept album from 1974. And to celebrate, Genesis are finally giving fans what many of us have dreamed of for decades: a deluxe reissue arriving this September 2025. It's coming in two main formats, a 5 LP box set and a 4 CD Super Deluxe edition, each bundled with a Blu-ray. And yes, it's premium stuff. The vinyl edition is expected to retail for around £175. So today we're going to look back at what makes the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway such a landmark release, break down what's included in these new box sets, and reflect on the album's legacy as one of the most daring moments in Genesis history. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway is one of those rare albums that manages to be both the band's creative peak and the beginning of a major turning point. Released in November '74, it was Genesis' 6th studio album and the last to feature Peter Gabriel as frontman. The story, a surreal allegorical journey through the underworld of New York City, following a Puerto Rican graffiti artist named Rail. It's dense, it's strange, it's poetic and political and absurd, but it's also deeply moving. Tracks like In the Cage, Back in New York City, Carpet Crawlers and The Lamia remain fan favourites and live staples for years to come. Tony Banks' keyboards are massive and cinematic. Steve Hackett's guitar work is at times delicate and explosive. Phil Collins' drumming is both intricate and propulsive, and Mike Rutherford brings in those signature bass pedals that shake the floor. And of course, Peter Gabriel, who not only wrote the majority of the lyrics, but embodied Rail on stage with costume changes, storytelling, and the theatrical flair, delivered the most daring performance of his Genesis career. But what's exactly inside the 50th anniversary box set? Let's have a quick look, shall we? So, what's actually inside the 50th anniversary editions? Whether you go for the 5 LP or the 4 CD version, both feature a brand new remaster of the original album mix done by Miles Scholl at Abbey Road Studios, cut from the 1974 original analogue master tapes and done at half speed. Now, I own 3 copies of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, an original 1974 pressing mastered by the legendary George Porcupine Cut Peckham, a 2008 remix and remaster by Nick Davis, which I've always found jarring, especially after years of listening to the original mix, and my latest acquisition, the Analog Productions 45 RPM version, which is by far the best I've heard so far. This one is rich, dynamic and full of depth. So while the new Miles Scholl version could be definitive, I'm cautiously optimistic. Scholl has done excellent work in the past, but some of his half-speed masters have divided listeners, often sounding overly clean or sterile, losing some of that analogue soul. The Blu-ray included in both editions features a Dolby Atmos mix and a 9624 high-res stereo mix, newly created by Bob McKenzie and overseen by both Peter Gabriel and Tony Banks. That alone makes this a fascinating release, even if you already own multiple pressings. But one of the real highlights here is the newly remastered live recording from the Shrine Auditorium in 1975. A full Lamb Lies Down on Broadway performance finally presented in its entirety. Now, a version of this concert was included on the Genesis Archive box set released back in 1998, But that release had some serious caveats. Gabriel re-recorded many of the vocals in 1995, and the version of It included, there was actually a reworked studio version rather than the live take, with new vocals by Gabriel and guitar by Steve Hackett. Plus, that set was only a CD-only release. What makes the 50th anniversary edition truly special is this. For the first time ever, we're getting the complete live Shrine show, including 2 encore tracks, Watcher of the Skies and the musical box, both of which were omitted from the 1998 archive box set. So the big question is, will this new version use the original 75 concert audio or the same 98 version with overdubs? We'll have to wait and listen, but I'll definitely be comparing them side by side when it lands. Also included are 3 previously unreleased demos from the Headley Grange sessions, although frustratingly these are download only. Shades of Flowers in the Dirt here, rare content that isn't physically included in the box. Finally, the set includes a beautifully designed deluxe book featuring new interviews with all 5 members of the band, conducted by journalist Alexis Petridis. You also get facsimiles of the 75 tour programme, a replica poster, a ticket stub, a nice touch for those who love the tactile side of collecting. So overall, this isn't just a remaster, it's a full-on archival release that finally does justice to The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway as both a studio and live experience. What makes The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway so powerful, still 50 years later, is the sense that the band was operating at full creative tilt, while also teetering on the edge of implosion. Peter Gabriel would leave the band after the Lamb tour ended in 1975. His departure marked the end of an era, but also opened the door for the next chapter of the band, with Phil Collins stepping up as lead vocalist. In hindsight, The Lamb represents both the grand finale and a genesis, no pun intended, of what was to come. It's an album about transformation, identity and fragmentation, themes that ended up mirroring the band's own path. The original album, the lavish tour, the friction within the band, it all fed into that music. And that's why this 50th anniversary edition feels so important to me. It's not just a polished up version, it's a restoration of something mythical. Especially with the Shrine concert fully restored, encores and all, it gives us a much clearer picture of how monumental this moment was. Critics were initially divided, but fans knew and still know that this was something special. And over time, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway has earned its place as one of the greatest concept albums ever made. So, will you be picking up the 50th box set when it lands this September? Do you have a favourite pressing of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, or maybe a story about hearing it for the first time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I always love hearing from fellow collectors and Genesis fans. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and tap that bell for more deep dives into legendary albums and high quality vinyl. Until next time, keep listening, keep collecting and keep the music alive. Cheers, bye bye.